to kathysright.com, the pit stop for the conservative mind, heart, and soul. If you haven't noticed by now, we are in a warfare, spiritual warfare, a cultural warfare, a political warfare. We have so much to lose, and we have everything to gain. The lines have been drawn in the sand. The Democrats have pretty much defined that line, which they actually have no right to do, because that line, you see, is between good and evil. God draws that line. Joe Biden keeps telling us that he is fighting for the soul of America. I beg to differ, because the soul of America includes me and my soul is not for sale, Joe Biden. Understand, America, that Joe Biden, by being the pick for the presidency by the Democrat Party, dear Democrats, you have got to be kidding me. Joe Biden. Corrupt Joe Biden? The you ain't black Joe Biden? The corn pop Joe Biden? The kid's rubbing his hairy legs in the pool Joe Biden? The poor kids are just as smart and just as bright as white kids Joe Biden? The fire the prosecutor or you're not getting the $1 billion Joe Biden? Democrats, are you serious? Is this the top of your food chain, Joe Biden? Is this the cream of your crop, Democrats? This is the best you could do? God help us all. If by some freak of nature he wins, then we are all screwed. My fellow patriots, we'd better be fierce in our voting this November. It's really not going to be about Republican versus Democrat. It is going to be about America versus communism. Make no mistake about it. The squad, that's just a foretaste of things to come. Part of me believes that the only reason that Joe Biden is running for president is so that he can finish the job of covering up for the previous president, Barack Hussein Obama. We are just now discovering that Obama and Biden knew all about what Hillary was up to. They were all over it. That's why they had so many people and so many parts of the bureaucracy covering up for Hillary. The dossier, the one she paid for, it's under investigation. So much is under investigation, and he wants to win just so he can shut that whole thing down. Everybody can see that. And we all see, it's the obvious. It's like the elephant in the room. That's how we know that the Democrat Party would lie, steal, and cheat to win. Because they know so many of them are going down if Trump has a second chance at getting to the bottom of all the misdeeds of the Democratic Party, especially those that were involved in the spying of Trump's campaign. They kept him very busy, very, very busy with the impeachment, and then very, very busy with the coronavirus. He's been very, very busy, but he's not stupid, and neither are we. Of course, the Democratic Party, they're counting on people being stupid. Joe Biden is a half-assed Catholic at best. He only screams Catholicism when it makes him look good. It's weird, don't you think, that when Joe Biden talks about his Catholicism, nobody's concerned. But when Amy Barrett, not running, she's in a hearing, a candidate to be a Supreme Court justice, all of a sudden, her Catholicism, that's of concern, according to some people. Why do you suppose that is? Why do you suppose that the Democrats embrace all of the misbehaving Catholics, the bad ones, but the good ones, the ones that are following their faith and are participating in the Mass and who are doing the right things when it comes to abortion? And we fight abortion on behalf of God and His church. We fight. They don't like the good Catholics like Amy Barrett. They like the ones like Joe Biden who advocate for abortion. Oh, and his cohort, Kamala Harris. Yeah, she advocates for a child being killed in the womb right up until the date of its birth. And so our president rightfully called her a monster, because only a monster could think like that. Truly. So what's our alternative? It's a street fighter billionaire, businessman, who has never served before, but passionately loves this country. And that is our president, Donald J. Trump. His partner in duty, unlike Biden's partner in crime, Donald Trump's partner in duty is Mike Pence, who seems to me to be a sincere Christian. I know that I'm praying for them both constantly. This is not a tough choice for us to make. This is easy. Either we allow the Democrats to sell us down the river to China, while at the same time further contaminating the already decaying moral fiber that was once upon a time something we could be proud of, but now it's completely torn apart. Or we can fully support our president, who suffers the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, as Shakespeare would have said. Poison arrows at that, day in and day out. All of the mainstream media, they're against him. The leftists are against him. The Marxists are against him. The communists are against Trump. The murderous aborters are against Trump. But do you know who is for Trump? Mothers who want safe neighborhoods. Those who are the people who are for Trump. Parents who want options for schools for their children. They're for our President Trump. Police officers across this nation, police chiefs and police associations across this nation, they are for President Donald Trump. Small business owners, they are for Donald Trump. Black people who live in the opportunity zones, who are starting small businesses, they support Donald Trump. The immigrants who came here legally, they support Donald Trump. So in all fairness, who supports Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Well, Kamala's campaign organizers actually paid into the fund, a fund encouraged by Kamala Harris, that bailed out rioters and looters, drug dealers. I'll bet they support Joe Biden. They need those borders open. Human traffickers, they're supporting Joe Biden because that's how they traffic, through those open wide borders. I'll bet they support Joe Biden. Punch in Antifa on the internet. Guess what? It goes directly to Joe Biden's campaign. I kid you not, unless they fixed it in the last 24 hours. I kid you not. So Democrats, I'd be careful of the company you keep, because you're in the company of some pretty diabolical people. I'll bet you Harvey Weinstein supports Joe Biden. How much do you want to bet? So all this week, I've been listening to the hearings for the candidate for the Supreme Court. And her name is Amy Coney Barrett. And she's impressive. She did so much. I mean, she answered all of these questions very intricately. And she had so much knowledge at the tip of her fingers, literally, because she did not have any notes. She was able to recall all of these court cases, the month and the dates of which I would have never been able to pull up that much memory. I'm having my more and more Biden moments lately. But Miss Maisie from Hawaii, Miss Maisie asking a decent woman an indecent question. I almost lost my lunch. Miss Maisie. She asked, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any physical or verbal harassment or assault of a sexual nature? Hirono asked her, and Ms. Barrett answered, no, Senator. Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct? Hirono then asked. No, Senator, Barrett answered. Sounds like the Kavanaugh hearing again. I'm embarrassed for the beautiful state or islands of Hawaii. Klobuchar was just being a total bee if you ask me. I can tell that if we ever met, I would not want to have lunch with that woman. I have a feeling she's just not a very nice person, and which is probably why she did not make it to the top of the food chain like Joe did. So over and over with these questions of hypothetical cases that every person who's ever even gone to any kind of school would know that she couldn't possibly answer those kinds of questions unless there was a case before her with the real people involved, not hypothetical people like the Democrats kept insisting on her giving her opinion about these imaginary people. But they continue barraging her with mundane, unanswerable speeches. Oh, I mean questions. Whatever soundbite they wanted their lefty followers to hear them say. I was impressed and proud of Barrett as a woman and as a Catholic. It is apparent from what I have read that she lives her faith fully, as do I. I believe what I say when I say my profession of faith on Sundays at Mass, and I do my best to live my faith. Imperfect sinner that I am, I can honestly say that I try my darndest. Like the Honorable Mrs. Amy Barrett, I'm involved with my church and several ministries. I'm Catholic and always will be Catholic. But do you know how there are RINOs? By that I mean people who are Republican in name only. We got them in the Catholic Church as well. Two of their names are Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, who on a weekly basis advocate for abortion, which is diametrically opposed to church teaching. I wonder if people realize that Joe and Nancy excommunicate themselves from the Catholic Church by voting and advocating for the killing of babies in abortion. No one has to come down with some sort of decree. They literally excommunicate themselves, according to church teaching. Finally, there was this one priest. His name was Father Robert Murray. On October 27, 2020, he denied, finally, Joe Biden the Eucharist. When asked about this, the pastor stated, I think in a written way, any public figure who advocates for the abortion places himself or herself outside of church teaching. As a priest, it is my responsibility to minister to those souls entrusted to my care, and I must do so even in the most difficult situations. In a public statement in answer to that, Biden simply described it as a personal issue. Joe, getting murdered is very personal. It's a very personal issue to the child being killed, Joe, as Kamala so lovingly calls you, Joe. They, the usual suspects, came to Joe's defense. They will have no kudos here. This brings to mind the term Cafeteria Catholic. You know the ones who pick and choose what parts of the Bible or catechism that they believe in and they toss away the rest, as if they're going through a cafeteria with a tray, saying, I'll have some of this, not that. Oh, I'll take a little bit of that, and a whole lot of that stuff. I'll bet we all see that throughout the Christian world. But why have standards at all if you're only going to pick and choose the ones you like? Catholics are not alone in this. I've seen it from all spectrums of Christianity, where people pick and choose what they like. And like it's a smorgasbord. Like Christianity is a smorgasbord, and you can pick and choose what you like. Cafeteria Catholic. But I'll bet when you see that, if we're that lax in our behavior, that's called being lukewarm. And that is unacceptable to Jesus. Jeremiah 9:3, Ezekiel 13:5, Matthew 26:41. Not to get all preachy on you, believe me, I am far from qualified. At this moment in time, we have an opportunity to see polar opposites on the spectrum of lay Catholicism. On one end, you have Joe Biden. At the other end, you have Amy Barrett, who lives her faith, evidenced by 7 children. I'm just not made that way. Most Catholics who are at least giving it their best shot are not made like Joe Biden. We can't go into church on Sunday and say, I believe in Jesus Christ, and then go and officiate in a so-called wedding of two dudes. That's your Joe Biden. That's base. That's low. It's just unfathomable to me that people think they can get away with stuff like that and continue, oh yes, I'm Catholic. Oh, please. Whereas Amy Barrett, the Honorable Amy Barrett, who is being harassed by the Democrats as we speak in Congress or Senate because she lives her faith, she believes her faith, or as Feinstein puts it, has said to her, she said to her before, the dogma lives loudly within you, and that's of concern. Well, Dianne Feinstein and others, you should be concerned. You should be concerned about people like Joe Biden who say one thing and do the other, who profess one thing and votes the opposite. Because when you do that, you're lying in some part of your life. You're either lying spiritually or you are lying to the people, your constituents. You can't have it both ways. But that makes you a liar, Joe Biden. Or as Kamala says, Joe. Please. You didn't hear Feinstein or anyone else claiming that Joe Biden, that his dogma lives loudly within him. No, they like a misbehaving Catholic. They like that kind of stuff. Just like the Democrats really, really like the now deceased McCain. McCain was the Democrats' favorite Republican, while not Catholic. Why? Because he was a traitor to his party over and over again. The Affordable Care Act. To start with, he got off of his deathbed to fly in to vote so that we could still be stuck with this affordable care, which is in no way affordable for us. The only acceptable Catholic to the Democrats are the ones who are okay with their sin. They're okay with, they don't care about your soul. They don't care if you're going to go to heaven or hell. They don't care. They love a misbehaving Catholic, but I'm a card-carrying Catholic. I'm a scapular-wearing, rosary-praying Catholic. I do novenas. I'm constantly in a novena mode. That's the kind of Catholic that I am. And I'm in good company, too, because there are about 1 billion of us. A lot of people misunderstand the Catholic faith. Because, let's just face it, fake news did not just start with President Trump. Fake news started way back when Jesus was on this earth. That is precisely why all of the apostles died a martyrdom for the faith. Fake news. People misunderstood Christianity from its very inception. People misunderstand the Catholic Church because there's so much information out there. Every time our Pope burps, we got to hear about it. And then people, I've been told so many crazy things from non-Catholics that they tell me that they think that the church teaches. Like, for instance, one person wrote to me, they said, well, don't you guys worship your Pope? No, I'm here to tell you, nobody worships the Pope. Nobody even ever did worship a Pope. He's a dude. He has a high office in the church. It's much like royalty, so to speak. The royal priesthood. And that is how we see him. We don't all even like him. We don't have to. We just need him to do his job as the Pope, and we'll do our job as the lay people. That's it. For more than 1,500 years, nobody ever saw the Pope. Nobody even knew who he was. Now, apparently, we have 2 popes. Pope Benedict, I still don't understand why he resigned. Somebody needs to answer that for me. Someday. He's still alive. I was so happy when Pope Benedict became Pope. And when he resigned, I thought there was something really strange about that. I still think something's really strange about that. But I still love my church. I know that Jesus founded my church in the year 33 AD. Google it. Satan has attacked the church since day one, and it's been infiltrated since day one. You have to remember, of the 12 apostles chosen by Christ, one was a traitor. His name was Judas. And Judas betrayed Christ. So that means 1 in 12. 1 in 12. 1/12 of the church at one point was evil. I think we got it down to maybe 1% now. So we're doing pretty good numbers wise. So no, Miss Barrett, Honorable Judge Barrett, she is not of the same ilk as Biden and Pelosi, who talk out of both sides of their mouths. And I'm proud of her, and I'm grateful, and I hope and pray she licks this whole hearing thing and becomes a Supreme Court justice. And these people who really are fearful, they're not fearful of her Catholicism. They use that. They're not fearful of her Catholicism. They're fearful of her conscience, because she has one. And that's what they're afraid of, because if they had a conscience, they would not be killing babies. They would not advocate for killing babies in the womb. How did they ever convince mothers that it's okay to kill your own child? That is beyond me. I don't get how that... There has to be some kind of massive mental heart disconnect for anybody, any woman especially, to want to kill her own child, her own flesh and blood. That's evil. That's the epitome of evil. And when people can't see that, I just wonder what kind of person can wrap their mind around that issue and not come up thinking, we got to do something to stop this. This is barbaric. Crushing a baby's head on the way out of the womb? What kind of monsters have we become in this world that that's okay with anybody? I don't know. But I'm here to tell you, I love all Christians, not just the Catholic ones. I love all my brothers and sisters in Christ. Because if you love my Jesus, I got to love you too. This is Kathy of kathysright.com. Make sure you subscribe. I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for the United States of America. God bless us all.
Thank you for listening to kathysright.com. Make sure you subscribe today. I'll be back with more interesting conservative talk. Bye.